Hi everyone, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Neuvillette. So as I'm recording this, a couple days ago, Hoyoverse put out Neuvillette's talents. So we're going to be looking at this alongside the weapons. So this is the free-to-play weapon from the event, alongside the 4-star Gacha weapons, alongside his best in slot. So that's what we're going to mainly be talking about today. My name is Anchovies, and I make content centered around guides, analyses, and lore. So let's get into Neuvillette. So obviously this is a little character card, so Ordena of Inexorable Judgment, period. It's a very nice splash art. Really like this design. Really cool character. Love him so much. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and skip all this and go straight to his talents. So here we have his normal attack. So he does up to 3 attacks that deal hydro damage. And then for his charge attack, you can charge it up all the way until it forms its little seal thing. So as you can see here, it's charging up to form a seal. And then after it's finished, it'll then do his charge attack animation for like 3 seconds. And with this charge attack, the way that it works is so he can obviously move around his positioning, so you can change the direction that the torrent is like shooting at. And the torrent itself deals AoE hydro damage, so it will deal damage in a small AoE. And of course, because you can change its direction, then you can effectively apply it to an even larger AoE. So it does mention here that while charging up or in this state, Neuvillette can absorb any source water droplets within a certain AoE. And these droplets are going to be very relevant, I think, to a lot of his gameplay. So it says every droplet he absorbs will increase the formation speed of the seal and will heal Neuvillette. So obviously, for the vast majority of scenarios, you usually don't want to be charging up his charge attack just because it just takes a long time. I mean, if we go back to this animation, it took quite a bit for his thing to charge up and finally form the seal when you just charge up like this. It just takes way too long, especially when you're doing like rotations and stuff in like Abyss content. This just takes way too long. So you definitely want to be picking up droplets to just get right into your charge attack animation, which is exactly what they go into here. So a charge attack unleashes surging torrents, dealing continuous AoE hydro damage to all opponents in a straight line area that is in front of him. Equitable Judgment will not consume any stamina and last 3 seconds. And if Neuvillette's HP is above 50%, then he'll continuously lose HP while using this attack. So similar to other Fontaine units, and we're probably going to be seeing this throughout pretty much almost every single character release in Fontaine, there's going to be some HP drain, HP gain mechanic built within their kit. So like Lenny, for example, he has his charge shots where each shot he shoots takes away his HP, and then when he uses his elemental skill with stacks, then he heals himself. Similar thing with Neuvillette, while he's in his charge attack state, loses HP, and then when he charges it up and picks up any droplets, he'll instantly heal back and then do it over and over again. So this of course makes him a very good user for the Marachasi Hunter set, 100%. So his elemental skill deals AoE hydro damage to opponents that are in front of him based on his max HP, and after hitting an opponent, the skill will generate 3 source water droplets near that opponent. So I'm trying to see the amount of particles that his skill generates here, and it looks like from this, it's 4. Which was the exact same amount I think that I saw in the 4.1 livestream trailer. So it seems like 4 particles is a generally consistent amount of energy that you're going to be getting from this skill. I'm not sure if 5 is possible. That's something I'm going to just be spam testing on day 1. So I think energy is something that it's not the biggest hassle for him, but you might want to build some. If I were to just guess, I would immediately say probably like 140 as like just a guess from this alone. Especially take into account the teams that I've seen people pair Neuvillette in, it does seem like might need a decent amount of energy just to get his burst back every rotation. And then for his elemental burst, unleashes waves that deal AoE hydro damage based on Neuvillette's max HP. After a short interval, 2 waterfalls will descend and deal hydro damage in a somewhat smaller AoE, and will generate 6 source water droplets within the area that's in front of him. So again, another talent that's not really worth it in terms of its damage, mainly just there for the source water droplets, which probably means that you can honestly just level his normal attacks and like you'll be fine, because this is where like the vast majority of his damage is coming from. Most of the damage is not coming from this one skill trigger, nor is it really coming from this burst, although his burst I would assume probably does a decent enough amount of damage to make it considerable, but still they're mainly just here for the source water droplets for his charge attack formation speed. And then of course we have the Fontaine mechanic. So his mechanic is Numa aligned, so if that's something that you care about, then that's here. Alright, so now let's get on to the weapons. So we're going to start with Tome of the Eternal Flow, which is Neuvillette's best in slot weapon. So crit damage stat, low base attack, really good for him. So the passive HP increased by 16%. When current HP increases or decreases, charge attack damage will be increased by 14% for 4 seconds. Max 3 stacks. This effect can be triggered once every 0.3 seconds. When the character has 3 stacks or a third stack's duration is refreshed, 8 energy will be restored. This energy restoration effect can be triggered once every 12 seconds. there's not too much to say about this. This weapon is like most best in slot weapons, very tailor-made for Neuvillette. Literally gives him everything that he wants pretty much. Of course, the only downside is that it kind of really only works for Neuvillette, especially because of this portion where it requires HP to be changing constantly. And most of the DPS Catalyst users that would initially like to use this weapon, I mean, most Catalyst users will probably get away with using this anyways, simply just because of the crit stat, and like that's whatever. But in terms of its passive, especially characters that don't mind using charge attacks like Wanderer, for example, they're definitely going to have a hard time even getting like 1 or 2 stacks consistently. So this portion is going to be inconsistent. And then of course, most DPS characters don't really care about this HP % increase. And the energy restoration is like fine. I mean, it's every character honestly appreciates some form of energy restoration regardless of who they are. So it's just a nice little touch. But overall, I think at least specifically for Neuvillette, this is really, really good. So now let's get onto the Gacha 4-star weapons. Of course, it's a sword and it's an HP % sword that they put on the Gacha. I can't necessarily say I'm surprised, but it's like, okay. They couldn't have made it more obvious because people have been asking for a 4-star HP % sword, I think, for a while now. And then we finally get it, only to figure out that it is event exclusive and on a banner that you have to pull for. So definitely unfortunate. But anyways, let's go ahead and read this. So when the wielder is healed or heals others, they will gain a stoic symbol that lasts 30 seconds up to a maximum of 3 symbols. When using their elemental skill or a burst, all symbols will be consumed and the rouse effect will be granted for 10 seconds. For each symbol consumed, gain 48 EM, and 2 seconds after the effect occurs, 2 energy per symbol consumed will be restored for that said character. The rouse effect can be triggered once every 15 seconds and symbols can be gained even when the character is not on the field. So just the EM increase alone, it low-key screams Nilou weapon, especially because of the HP % stat. Again, it's unfortunate this is locked behind an event exclusive weapon banner, but nonetheless, just talking about the weapon in general, just putting that to the side, pretty decent for characters who want HP % in general, even if they can't take effect of most of the passive, if really any of the passive, pretty much. Just this HP % stat alone is really effective, especially for shielders, like for example, Layla and Kirara. If you're able to get this weapon for them, then their shields become even better, and they can become even more competitive options in the shielding department. And then, like I said earlier, Nilou, obviously HP %, low base attack, which is nice, EM boost when the passive is triggered, alongside some energy restoration. So overall, really good weapon for those 3, and just honestly any other sword character that likes HP %. So this next one is a Claymore, which is also another HP % one, except this one gives a lot more HP % in its stat in low base attack. So interesting. And it has the same exact passive effect. Okay, we don't even need to read all this. Here, let me go back and just double check the Claymore users that benefit from HP % real quick. Okay, so just looking at just the Claymore characters, can I be so honest? I actually don't know who would really like this. Because the HP % stat is really, really high. And the passive is good for the regular EM boost and the energy restoration. The problem is I don't really see any of the characters here who would like unironically want this. Like maybe Dori, maybe Sayu, but like Sayu stuff skills more with attack, I think, than HP %. Dori seems to be really the only decent person that can use it. And maybe like Dehya, if you really wanted to. And then lastly, we have the Catalyst event weapon, which is going to be coming in this upcoming event in 4.1. So energy recharge stat, relatively high base attack, which is kind of weird because this is especially supposed to be a free-to-play weapon that suits Neuvillette. High base attack is a head scratcher for me, but whatever, I guess. So it's passive within 6 seconds after a normal or charge attack hits an opponent. Normal attack damage is increased by 8% and charge attack damage increased by 6%. Max 3 stacks, and this effect can be triggered once every 0.3 seconds. So especially this passive effect here, really, really nice for Neuvillette because it benefits for both normal and charge attack damage. And although the stat is energy recharge, this is actually fine. Honestly, it alleviates a lot of his energy requirements and honestly only requires you to build maybe like 10 or 20% more ER in his like substats and his artifacts. So it makes getting his energy needs a little less challenging. Overall, it's a decent weapon. In terms of who else could use this weapon, I mean, honestly, any character that uses normal or charge attacks within their kit could probably take some advantage of this. So I mean, here we have like Klee, Yanfei, Heijo, Wanderer, even maybe Risley if you really wanted to. Yeah, any of these other characters as well. I mean, although it wouldn't be their best options. If it's really like all you have, or like this would be probably the best next weapon that you would have for like your Catalyst users, then I mean, it could work. Alright, so that's going to do it for our little, I guess you could say, pre-release for Neuvillette alongside the Gacha weapons. Let me know your thoughts about Neuvillette and whether or not you'll be pulling for him. Be sure to subscribe for more Genshin Impact content, and until the next video, bye-bye.